for good.
Michigan Speedway is the site of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s last 2 victories. This race last year, and then 4 years before that in that fuel mileage race. And of course, he's red hot right now, 4th in the points, coming off a 3rd place finish at Pocono last week. And a lot of folks are thinking maybe lightning will strike again. His crew chief is Steve Letarte, and Steve echoes what we talked about earlier in the show. Crew chiefs, not just him, are going in with a lot of questions on their minds.
Well, you know, there's going to be a big anticipation going back up to Michigan this year. With the repave last year, it's smooth, tons of grip, but Michigan winters are cold, they're rough. How much grip is the track going to lose? How's the tire going to match up? How's this new car going to work at what is now the fastest racetrack we go to? You know, there's a lot of question marks going to Michigan. So it's a fun track. I mean, we're obviously a big fan of it. You know, we got our win there last year, so we're looking forward to going back. But it's a beautiful area of the country that I love to go, but there's going to be some nervous anticipation until you get cars on the track and really learn what the track has in it.
Now, as we talked earlier in the show, we're racing on relatively new pavement for the 2nd week in a row. What that means is teams go to all kinds of extremes to try to get their cars as close to the ground as possible without violating NASCAR rules and without tearing up the front end if you hit any kind of bump out there. The theory is, with new pavement, there's not many bumps there. Steve Post reports from Charlotte, North Carolina on the extent teams go to try to get the car down low and why that's so important on a super fast track like Michigan.
The racetracks at Pocono and Michigan, newly repaved last year. They're still lightning fast and lightning smooth. Used to be at these racetracks, it was a matter of getting your cars to go through the bumps over and over and over, up and down over those bumps. Now it's fine-tuning on a lightning fast, smooth race surface. Let's take a look at the nose of one of these cars. This is Ryan Newman's Quick and Loan Chevy SS from Stewart-Haas Racing. The key is right here to get this portion of the car as close to the ground as possible as the cars go around the racetrack. Now they'll use the front suspension parts, they'll use the rear suspension parts on it. Even air pressure is finely tuned on these cars over the course of a run to get that nose as close as possible, because you do not want any air up underneath the race car. You want all the air on the front of the race car, nothing up under it, and it's fine-tuning. At Pocono last week and at Michigan this week, the guy that hits the fine-tuning marks might be the ones going to victory lane in the Quicken Loans 400, and we'll see what happens, but very fine-tuning on these race cars on these new smooth racetracks.
All right, Steve, thanks again. Don't forget, you can read more from Steve Post about food around the track at his site, foodaroundthetrack.com.
Here's this week's Diecast update with Steve Post for Plan B sales.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has had a lot of success at Michigan International Raceway, where we're going this weekend in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Tour. His 18th and 19th victories on the tour came at Michigan, so a lot of recent success, and doesn't seem possible, but Jr. in his 15th season of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing action, and we haven't covered all on Plan B sales as far as the diecast. In fact, going back, the NASCAR Nationwide Series, a 2-time champion. Remember this AC Delco Chevrolet that he drove for his father's team? And, well, we also have the car that made Junior famous, the Budweiser Chevy from 2003. This one of the classics that every Dale Earnhardt Jr. collection must have. So we go back in time with Dale Earnhardt Jr., and we can flank it with the current cars, the 2013 Diet Mountain Dew Chevy over here, and the 2013 National Guard Chevy that Dale Earnhardt Jr. will race this weekend up in Michigan International Speedway. So if it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. diecast, Plan B sales certainly has an answer for you from a historical perspective, from a historical cup perspective, or with the 2013 Visions that are in stock now.
Plan B Sales is your best source for amazing quality die-cast cars. PlanBsales.com.
It's a long way from Daytona to New Hampshire, and the hauler drivers, of course, busy moving up the eastern seaboard, moving to the next race of the year. From there, they'll take a week off before heading out to Indianapolis. They crisscross the country throughout the course of the year. These haulers are certainly a big attraction for race fans because, let's face it, they're dressed up just like the race cars are, and fans will line up at the racetrack sometimes just maybe on Thursday afternoon before the race weekend wanting to see their favorite driver's hauler come in. Inside these haulers, it's like a mobile race shop. Steve Post takes us on a tour.
These transporters, they are big, they are busy, and they're always on the move. And we appreciate Earnhardt Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabates. They've allowed us just a few minutes inside of Jamie McMurray's transporter here in between races. Now, we start at the front of these transporters. Up in the front area is the lounge area and the meeting area. That's where drivers and crew chiefs go over. They debrief. The computers are up there. The engineers are there. Schedules are there. All of the details, all of the team powwows, debrief sessions are all handled up in the front in the office area. Now, from there on back, it is all parts and pieces to keep everyone moving all weekend long. We start up here at the front of it. This is a shock dyno, and this basically allows the team, as the weekend to go, to build shock absorbers to meet the specs that they're looking for. So teams, these shock dynos, the shock will fit into here, and this will be rolling up and down, playing on this computer screen, and they will be playing to whatever design the crew chief decides as far as the shock goes. Now, every part piece needs to be on these transporters. When we arrive at a race weekend, there's only an hour and a half of practice on Friday morning, so we need to know where everything is. Every fastener, every nut, every bolt has a place here. The truck driver is responsible for making sure that everything is in place, because you can't spend that 90-minute session of the practice looking for parts and pieces that you don't have. So not only are these trucks busy, they're very organized. As we move to the back, the most important area, well, most important as far as I'm concerned, this is the kitchen area. Microwave, coffee maker, all of the great things to keep the crews fed as the race weekend goes on. As we move further to the back, look, radio communication, a big part of it, an entire cupboard, an entire closet devoted to radio communication between the driver, the crew members, and the crew chief. And one of the areas that I think is really neat is this area here. This is the driver's locker. And this Jamie McMurray's, as you can see, the different fire suits that he has, the helmets that he has, the gloves, the shoes. So this truck carries every part and piece known to mankind, and this is only the inside.
All right, thanks, Postman. And don't forget, if you're going to a race soon, and we hope you are, be sure to check out Postman's website, foodaroundthetrack.com. You'll find all the great eating spots around every racetrack on the Sprint Cup circuit. Now, at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, as we talked earlier, it's one of a kind, a narrow, but just 1 mile, flat racetrack. And it causes a big headache for crew chiefs trying to make their cars handle just right. Kenny Francis is crew chief for Casey Kane. They won at New Hampshire last year, and he talks about what a balancing act it is, getting speed and making the car handle.
The key is figuring out, how to get around that track, keep the front of the car down, but without doing that without screwing something else.
Joe, and that's getting the car to turn through the corner.
After the Brickyard, it's off to Pocono, Watkins Glen, Michigan. Then we go to Bristol, and it's one of the fan favorites, the Urban Tools Night Race, coming up on the schedule. And Raceline's giving away tickets. Go to our website, enter to win at racelineonline.com, or go straight to Bristol's site and buy your tickets now at bristolmotorspeedway.com.
Here's this week's championship points on the Ford scoreboard. Ford, go further. More of today's Raceline right after these words.
All right.
For his family after the 2011 Brickyard 400.
Well, every event is important. They all pay the same amount of points, but winning a Brickyard special, especially to the Menards, it's in their backyard. They've been going there for many, many years. And to pull an upset victory off with Paul giving him his first win in the Sprint Cup Series was truly amazing for myself and our race team here at RCR. So, again, any race you win is important, but the Brickyard is just so much prestige and history, and we feel very fortunate and blessed to win that race.
The Brickyard race is certainly considered one of the big events of our season, NASCAR season, along with the Daytona 500, the Southern 500, and the Coca-Cola 600. Alex Hayden joins us now from the Raceline News Center.
7 wins at the Monster Mile. And coming to Dover 18 points out of the championship lead, he hopes to break that record to give himself a shot for a 6th championship.
400 laps, 400 miles. This track will beat you up. Who will it be today?
It's one of our best racetracks, one of our favorite racetracks. 400 laps around this great place.
All right, boys, let's do this together for one another. Speed 248 today.
Here they come down to the line. Green flag is in the air. We are underway.
From the start, something was different about Dover. Instead of mangled cars and multiple cautions, long green flag runs were pressuring teams to tough it out.
From a mental standpoint, that's the area where I thrive. When we get into long runs and a tough, demanding track where it's not easy to get around this place, I really feel like that's where I seem to do my best work.
Johnson's best work was ahead of him, but he'd have to grab the lead first. And after the dominant car of Dale Jr. made a mistake, Johnson took advantage.
All right, we're ready for you this time.
Keep coming, keep coming. Nothing here, Bear, but keep coming.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. just missed the entrance. That's going to cost him a lot of time.
Go, man, go. Go hard, hard.
20's entering 1.
Hey, in the hell is that? I was going 30 miles an hour faster, and he ran right up to the fence in front of me. New leader, 48.
3 cautions waived over 370 laps. Johnson led nearly half of those. And after teams made pit stops with 90 to go, they knew it would come down to one final stop.
Straight smooth, we got to pit one more time.
And we are going to see things change completely right now.
When the caution came out, that really threw a wrench in the spokes.
And here's where the guys on pit road earn the big bucks.
And a pretty big gap in our mirror, Stevie, because of all the lap cars, just so you know there. How big? A big, like 4 tires big? Out 4 seconds on pit road. Great information, 4 tires. 4 tires, guys, 4 tires here. Turn in, tight to the wall, 2 tires, 2. Go, man, go, go, man, go, 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 go. Yeah, all clear, easy. Nobody coming. I believe that might be the first car with 4. Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest, when Stevie and those guys took 4 tires, I was like, damn, that was a missed opportunity.
And what I saw of his car on 4 tires earlier in the race, he was pretty quick, and that was really our weakest point, was the first 5 to 10 laps.
Jimmy running it probably one of his better racetracks. It was going to be a challenge, but I felt like we had enough car and tires for sure to beat him.
So here we go. It is showtime at Dover International Speedway. We are down to 26 laps remaining. Green flag goes back in the air.
Jimmy's going to get away, and Gordon will stumble. Here's Earnhardt around the outside. He'll go to second.
When the 88 was able to jump out there, get in second position really quick, I was a little nervous, but Jimmy did a fantastic job.
It looks like 4 tires may be better than 2. Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to run down the race leader.
Our car was starting to come around, and I think the difference in the tires between our 2 cars was about to show.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. guns ablaze, and it's down to 2 car lengths. It's down to 1 car length, but Jr. still cannot get by Johnson.
88 was putting a ton of pressure on us. I was dialing brake bias in the car, flipping switches for fans, going in the corner, and literally the first 5 or 6 laps just stuffing steering wheel in the car.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. doing all he can. Not going to be able to do it off the end of the back straightaway. Johnson works his way off turn number 4, and for the 8th time in his career, he wins at the Monster Mile.
Thank you, brother. Max points, my man. Max points. Hate losing them like that, but he just sat down fast around here. Yes. Thank you, guys.
Our Ram Guts and Glory stat now, and here's how the Hendrick cars fared Sunday at Dover. A 1-2 for Jimmy and Dale Jr. Jeff Gordon finished 4th, jumps up 3 positions in the points. Casey Kane, the first car lap down, he'd finish 13th.
And Danielle, how about this? It's the 3rd time this season that Mr. H has seen 2 of his cars finish 1st and 2nd. Season opening Daytona 500, Jimmy Johnson got his 2nd win of the Great American Race. Dale Jr. right behind him. Once again in August at Pocono, Casey Kane getting his 2nd win of the year. Jeff Gordon trying to run him down at the end of the race. And of course, yesterday afternoon, Johnson in front of Jr. one more time. Larry, what's interesting about what happened yesterday at Dover, the fact that late in that race, Dale Jr. took 4 tires, Jimmy took 2, something that Chad Knaus actually worked on, a strategy that he played out Saturday in practice.
Yeah, Adam, I go back to the race yesterday, a race where we only had 4 cautions. We saw several drivers test the waters with just changing right side tires, but it seemed to be a short-term game and a long-run loss. With the grip level of that racetrack yesterday, you could only go fast for a short run. But I think Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson knew what they wanted to try to do. In one of those practices on Saturday, they tried just right side tires to see what the balance of the car was going to be for Jimmy as far as drivability, but to see where the speed was. And they found out right there that they had speed for a short run, and that's all they needed was speed for a short run because the run to the end was 26 laps.
Is it common to do something like that on a Saturday in practice?
I think the only way you can do it is if you have a good handling race car. We saw him on Friday in that practice. They got a couple of race runs in. He seemed fairly happy, qualified 8th. But yeah, if you're happy with your race car and you're just fine-tuning, it's something that you can actually try. If you're scrambling, it's not something you're going to try. But I truly believe with what they learned in Saturday, when that caution came out, regardless of what anyone else did, Chad Knaus had his mind made up to right-side tires only.
How dangerous is this 48 team right now? Back-to-back top fives to start the chase, dominating yesterday at Dover. They're right in it once again, going for number 6, Danielle.
Hey, I wouldn't want to get in the ring with him, Adam. Speaking of which.
Transition.
Thank you. Tonight on Fox Sports 1, get in the ring with Monday Night Fights as we bring you a full card of hard-hitting action, including a bout between undefeated welterweight star Saddam Ali and Jay Krupp. Don't miss Monday Night Fights tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1. The magnitude of Jimmy Johnson's Dover win raised a few eyebrows. So who else turned some heads? Rookie Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joins us in the hub next to talk about taming the monster. Plus, last year's champ didn't make this year's chase, but he's still drawing headlines. Why is the Blue Deuce in Vegas? We'll tell you coming up next.
After Watkins Glen, the